Greetings and salutations, everyone. I'm Micamac. This is Rebellion de la Masses, Pilgrimage of Compassion. In the last episode, for some reason Amia can understand us. Doesn't really explain anything else, but she can understand us. So, Village of the Dead Lighthouse. Well, doesn't that sound inviting? This hardly looks like a village, it's more like the ruins of one, isn't it? It doesn't seem like they've done any proper upkeep to the place, not in a while at least. They're really here, living together. The strange buildings tells the stories of former prosperity from a bygone era. Our steps leave no footprints on the wet, muddy ground. On it I see a rotting sign marked with the name Faro Muerto. Everywhere I look in this village I see evidence of long, silent abandonment. We don't see these kind of abandoned looking ruins often in the city either. Well, yeah, there's always someone or something out there waiting to capitalize on that free real estate. Be it syndicate or corporation, fix it up. Better than this at least. So where are the sinners? There's a clearing down there where... We were entrapped betwixt the great twain of great ships, narrowing winds on our sails. Oh! And that is when young Ishmael boomed her command most resonant. Say no more. I didn't even have to try to search for them, that unmistakably sonorous and familiar voice echoing triumphantly between the empty buildings. That's Don Quixote's voice when she's sharing her adventurous tales. There she was, standing atop a low podium like an actor on stage, regaling a group of people in rags with tales of our adventures like a travelling thespian. Answer ye dogs, oarsmen! 'Tis the moment I, Ishmael, the first mate of the vessel Mephistopheles, shall never get. Ah! Stop! Hold on! Just what do you think you're doing? Young Ishmael, unhand my mouth, for I was just about to regale them with the most fantastic tale of adventures that the great Manager Esquire! Verily, thou hast returned with Major Esquire safely in tow. What? They found a clockhead? A burning clock for a head. When I was a child I heard a story about a legendary Sarkaz with a flaming head. Why would someone like that visit our humble village? While their exterior may carry elements that inspire fear in some, there is no cause for alarm. Yeah, they might look like that, but they're Dante, our manager. And the rest are... Oh, hello. I'm sorry, who are you two? They're two very nice people who helped us find Dante. This is Miss Amia, leader of Rose Island. And this is Miss Scotty, their operator. They'll be coming along with us for a little while. Yeah? With us? We believe that the dimensional door which we at Rose Island are investigating has something to do with why you suddenly woke up here in Iberia. As Amia was bringing the sinners up to speed... The villagers, who were staring at us curiously, approached us. Did our conversation manage to convince them that we're not a threat? I sure hope so. You are friends of our saviors. Saviors? Verily, 'tis quite the grand title, yet that is indeed the word by which we are addressed. To be more precise, by saviors they are referring only to Faust and Outis. Faust gave me a light nod when we made eye contact, but I could tell that her lips were drawing a very, very subtle smiling arc. So I'm guessing something did happen. They were quite mistrustful upon our initial arrival. What business do outsiders have here? What if they're from the Inquisition? Oh no, what do we do? After all we went through to get here. Calm yourselves, everyone. None of them are carrying what appears to be their scriptures or lamps. Let's first try to see who they are. Man, I don't think they're gonna trust us anytime soon. They're all old curmudgeons. It's STNC then PTSD. You can't do that, Ryoshu! We can't pillage their storage depots. It looks like they already have it hard enough as it is. Pillage their storage depots, so slit their necks cleanly. I don't think STNC is a good way to get started either. Should we just find help elsewhere? Just look how thin their arms are. I don't think they're in any shape to help us out. Perhaps we could inquire to as our whereabouts ere we are to decide our lodging. Whilst the landscape is certainly reminiscent of Vucor's, but I don't think I recall seeing or learning about any place that looks like this. I can't say I've been to every corner of Vucor. I ask again, what business do outsiders have here? Their fingers are tightening around the grips of their weapons. Prolonged silence will most likely turn this into a hostile encounter. We can't have that. We're from Limbus Company, we're fixers of justice! Yeah, that. Fixer. No, we don't know when to keep it down. Fixers? That over there is a ship blueprint, isn't it? Are you looking to repair a vessel by any chance? All these construction materials seem to suggest so. Chief! This does not concern you. It's not something a mere outsider can understand. Curious, I've never seen an energy source like this before. Have you run the tests to rule out any stability issues? Outis actually putting in the work. It seems to power the heat exchanger via some method comparable to utilization of fusion energy. Have you any thoughts on this, Miss Forst? The general design structure is somewhat old-fashioned, but there are certainly inspired parts to this design, particularly with the usage of the core energy source. While its stability would need to be further studied, this technology seems to be incredibly energy efficient. You identified all that merely by glancing at this blueprint? You must be the village chief then. If so, I have a proposition for you. In return for assisting their ship repair, we were promised a ride on their vessel. Miss Force has theorized that perhaps by going out to sea we may be able to find a return to whence we came. Does that mean we can find a way back somewhere out there in the sea? Nothing is certain yet, Dante. At this moment, we are working based on a hunch. A hunch. Not that it was in any doubt, but this is very clearly post-murder on the Warp Express Forced. Sensing the implicit omen in her choice of words, I slowly turned around to look at Forst, who nodded solemnly in response. You've lost your Gacellus shaft privileges, haven't you? If we're really in a different world, even her Gacellus shaft it has to be. No issues were encountered in the repair process. Force smiles faintly as she looks around, then she pulls me in by my hems. She whispers in a low voice. My connection to Gacellus shaft is currently operating at a suboptimal level, Dante. So it's still connected, at least? Indeed, it is. However, even exchanges of simple information are taking up dozens of hours by current calculation. Is this a warp train situation because we're in a different dimension? The cause should be identical. We have been connected to an unidentified, unpredictable dimension. However, Force is aware that the pathway to our original dimension is yet to close this time, unlike the situation back aboard the warp train. So, to get back to where we came from, indeed, travelling through the pathway is the most feasible solution. And from that, you came up with a whole plan to repair the ship and sail out to sea. Yes, well, I am also a genius after all. She didn't get her degree by cheating from the Discord. Amiya conjectured that we probably came through a dimensional door of sorts. Looks like that dimensional door might be what Force is looking for. With high likelihood, yes. At least there's a way back. I find myself calming down a little. Oh, speaking of which, when do you think you can wrap up the repair job? As fortune would have it, the majority of the most time-consuming parts of the repair have already been completed by the locals. It shouldn't take us more than a day or two to get its core parts shipshape again, Executive Manager. We'll be staying here a few more days then. How did you manage last night? Well, like I said earlier, we've been keeping ourselves busy looking for you this whole time. We took turns helping with the repairs and resting, but I doubt any of us got a proper night's rest. Still, we weren't cold thanks to the villagers who kept the fire going for us all night. Not to mention how they helped us a ton with that local map they drew us. Oh, also, Chief handed us this earlier. What's it for? It looks like a sack to collect water. Give it here, I know how to get that installed. It must be time to repay Miss Forst and Miss Outis' efforts at preparing their ship yet. The service they provide us is certainly quite generous, even when taking the transactional nature into account. It's easy to forget that that Odysseus was actually a ship captain. A lot of the Odyssey took place on him trying to sail back home again, and getting screwed over because he offended someone. He offended one of the Greek gods, so they took it upon themselves to make his journey back a complete nightmare. And well, Outis is Greek for nobody. They're really giving us the best treatment they can, huh? As for food, we managed to fill ourselves with some cookies and bread Rhodia keeps in her pockets. Didn't want to eat into their food supply when they're already pretty tight, you know? She carries enough cookies and bread for 12 people. They did offer us some nosh, those dried fish things, but we refused. I ain't about taking food from the needy. No need to concern yourselves so much with our hospitality. You have done more than enough to earn your keep. I turned around to look at the source of that low rumbling voice, and saw an old man in our outfit that seemed to distinguish itself amongst the villagers. There you are, Chief. Is there a place for us to stay the night? We do have places to shelter from the misty humidity at the very least. There is an empty building there, so feel free to occupy it for the night. Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't mind sleeping in the streets myself. Hey, speak for yourself. I've been looking forward to sleeping with a roof over my head since, like, yesterday. You'll catch cold sleeping in the elements in this environment, which is fine by me for the rest of you, but we cannot afford to have the executive manager or our honoured guests suffer that fate. Honoured guests? I heard what happened from the four who left in search of the executive manager. First, I would like to begin by imparting my infinite gratitude to you for finding and rescuing the executive manager. I hear that you are a leader at a pharmaceutical company. This acquaintance shall certainly come in handy in case our stay becomes significantly prolonged. I'm just surprised by her boldness to say something so materialistic when they're standing right there. Can I stay in your village too, Chief? The village chief took a brief glance at the hems by her right wrist, then nodded. Welcome to Faro Muerto. You are welcome to stay for as long as you want. And please, do let me know if you find yourselves without food. Our food supply may be tight indeed. We have enough to share with those who helped repair the vessel. Oh, you better not go back on your word later. Oh, I wonder what kind of local delicacies await. Dried fish like they were eating earlier, maybe? See, this is the point where Heathcliff can get his revenge for all the times she beat him up during the conversation on new Pekatula rankings. Hey, Chief. What is it? Just how are you surviving out here by the sea? Perhaps the question of how we are surviving may be somewhat misdirected. For we are only pursuing every possible avenue because we must survive. The chief responds to Scuddy's perceived hostility with a hearty smile. After leaving some firewood for the night, he left. I'm going. Can't learn much more from here. Huh? You're going somewhere at this hour? Scuddy, does this have something to do with the coast? I remember what you said before when we got to the village. Something about how coasts are hardly good places to live in. She can't understand you. We've gotten too used to Amiya. Dante wants to know if this has something to do with the coast. Hugh, do you understand the Aya language? No. Dante, Scuddy just spoke in Agerian. I couldn't understand a word of Scuddy and Chief's conversation because I don't speak Agerian. May only be that there was enough lexical similarity between one of the city's languages and the language Scuddy spoken for them to comprehend the meaning. Weird coincidence. Anyway, I have some things to look into. Something you're all too slow to see. You still have to tell us about it later. Please remember, you're not on a solo mission, Scuddy. This is a team effort from O'Rhodes Island. Will do. Scuddy nodded lightly before leaping off into the night. Out of our sights. I'm kinda worried. She's not the best with people, but she's also pretty thoughtful. She'll be okay. Should we head inside? The sun's starting to set already. Oh yeah, we can probably just pick an unlit building and stay the night there, right? Trying our best to ignore the mood that was starting to turn awkward, we made our way into a nearby unoccupied building. 17 minutes, huh? Okay, yeah, we can afford it. We walked past a few narrow buildings, and remnants of narrow buildings, before we came across a hall large enough to house all 15 or so of us. Okay, now we're ready. With the curtains on the window removed, the smoke has an exit. Whoa, I thought we were doomed to shudder ourselves to sleep with the soaking wet firewood and all. I had no idea that'd work. We just have to get a small fire going underneath it until the wood dries up and catches fire. The downside being all this smoke. It's clear that she has some field experience, unlike some fools I know. I shan't sit here and let her carry the burden of labour alone. Bequeath upon me thine ingredients, young Rhodian, for I shall conjure thee a pot of special fixer soup. You're making soup with cookies and jelly? No, you are not getting anywhere near the kitchen again. Not after what you cooked up last time. Oh right, Hell's Chicken reference. Well, I must admit to a certain level of interest, as many of our fellows' viscera are often racked with intense agony upon ingesting dishes of your making. Perhaps it would be wise if we save the occasion for a safe environment. Right, don't you remember? We agreed to leave cooking to Mur or Outis if we're ever in a situation like this, remember? Did we? See, I think it's become sort of an unspoken rule after everything that happened. Remember, back during last year's cooking contest at K-Core? They were the only two people who managed to get remotely positive reviews. Oh, does that mean we'll get to try Outis' cooking once again? Denied! We still have plenty of high-calorie foods like cookies and jellies here. I find no reason to do something so inefficient. I'm glad to see that everyone's still energetic given the circumstances. It can't be easy to suddenly wake up in an unfamiliar environment. Well, we're all quite used to getting thrown into unfamiliar places. Speaking of which, did you manage to reach your colleagues, Amiya? She shook her head, concerned. They might have been lost their cognitive devices. Maybe they ran into some other trouble. Could they be in danger? I don't know, but I'm sure they're okay. Dr. counts it. They're more than capable enough to look after themselves. Long have this curiosity lingered within me, thus allow me to inquire. Corporations are, by their nature, organizations in pursuit of profit. Yet the activities of your corporation resemble those of charity organizations, as opposed to a pharmaceutical company. Is there aught that might explicate this blurred distinction? I wanted to know too. How come a pharmaceutical company like Rhodes Island's helping people? Something about what Hong Lu said brings back unpleasant memories. The horrible experiments seen through the cascade of flowing tears in the face of suffering. The embodiment of greed that left a terrible wound in Hong Lu's fathoms. The pharmaceutical companies I've seen in my journey were corporations that, despite possessing the capacity to heal, chose to obsess over the profit it can provide. There are many in Terra who are suffering from a disease. The disease crystallizes you. It spreads deeper and deeper into the infected's internal organs, eventually culminating in their death. It's called oripathy. Amiya showed me the back of her right hand, dotted by what appeared to be obsidian crystallizations. Its appearance reminded me of the biotreatments of the back streets, but there was something more to it. Something more restless, more sinister. It's terrible, painful disease, but there haven't been any recorded cases of full recovery. But there's an even worse problem. Pray tell, what could possibly be worse than an incurable deadly disease? You would have things to say about that, wouldn't you? Well, it varies region by region. Discrimination against the infected is widespread across Terra. Those who suffer from it must face unfair treatment. He sang began with a dark expression. Some are quarantined in places with terrible, inhumane conditions. There have been massacres too. I don't mean to be callous, but is this oripathy highly contagious? No, there have not been any recorded cases of infection by contact, as long as subjects are alive. But when the infected dies, the crystal growths on their body decay and turn to dust, scattering, which is what spreads the plague. Then, barring environments like active battlefields where casualties are to be expected, staying within close proximity of the infected in daily life seems to pose hardly any risk. So what's the problem then? They're already past the point of caring about what the problem is. Once people start feeling iffy, all logic goes out the window. Then Rhodes Island's goal has to be, yes, it is important to develop a cure for oripathy, but I think what really matters is that we change the circumstances for the better for the infected. That's not going to be an easy endeavor, though that is what gives your effort more meaning. I hope you can achieve that goal, Amiya. I really do. For truth. The city, this world. We both live in worlds full of surprises, don't we? What kind of world did you come from? This city? What kind of place is the city anyway? A capitalistic dystopia. The kind of place with too many pointless rules. The kind of place where the moment you think, is this too much, you see something even worse. Try as I might, I couldn't think of a single positive thing about the city. The sinners seemed to be in agreement, as most of what came after was quite scathing. The kind of place where good deeds rarely go unpunished, where sympathy is a good attitude to have if you like getting stabbed in the back. Nothing good ever works out there. It's a shithole. It's an irrational place full of absurdities. Absurdity is an omnipresence. Therefore, It is not a subject by which one should be aggrieved. We can at least grouse about them, though. I mean, it's the only thing we can do. It would be more correct to experience more and acclimatize oneself to it instead of complaining. Don't forget you still have a candle on the line, Mersault. You did say something like that last time. Just as the mood was starting to turn rather sour, Don Quixote's shouts scattered through the awkwardness. Verily, ne'er a day goes untarnished by villains and their fell deeds. Yet worry thee not, for where evil riseth, so do fixes of justice to... Don Quixote jumped from her seat and passionately shook her fist, which was followed by a heavy crack and the sound of small pebbles tumbling down. Don Quixote, watch out! Oh! And from behind the wall she accidentally broke down. An unfamiliar visage of a villager appeared and stared back at Don Quixote. It appeared she was eating something out of a can while reading a book. How farest thou? Farest thou, my foot? You gotta apologize first. Ugh, lad seems a tad too hyper today. Apologies, for I hardly expected the wall to crumble with such ease. Art thou unhurt? Any injuries? Pray, to what? Forget the apology, I just want to know what happens next. The fixtures of justice rose up to... do what? Oh! Oh! Hast thou come to me to hear the tale of fixers? I don't know about coming to us, given that Miss Don Quixote was the one who punched the wall down. Oh, is it too late an hour? I don't mind waiting until morning if you want to sleep. Nay, not at all, 'tis quite an early hour for tales, in fact. Prithee, seat thyself here. You ungovernable fool, calm down, we don't even know who she is. And don't you forget to share those fixer tales over there in the corner to not disturb our sleep. Thou makest our request most untenable. These tales deserve to be announced to the world with great gusto from the centre. Yeah, that's the best way to hear those kinds of stories. But we should probably introduce ourselves to each other first. Name's Mares. How do I put this? Did you meet the village chief earlier today? He's my gramps. Oh, that nice guy. So he had a granddaughter. Yet I have not seen you once, Miss Mares, under the sun. Oh my, you're right. I thought the village was completely dried of any young blood. Like Rhodia said while we didn't see Mares out there, there wasn't anyone else in the village we could comfortably call young. What are you telling me? Gramps was worrying over nothing and told me to stay put inside. Going on and on about the dangers that the outsiders pose and everything. It seems they do not give full faith to their saviors. These are things you cannot share with even with those you trust your life, though I would like to know why. My, so there are a bunch of other kids who are stuck indoors in this village? No, there isn't anyone else around my age in the village. At all. She might be lying, but I don't blame her if she does. If that's the case, I guess I can understand why he'd be overprotective. Anyway, it's our turn. We are. I'm good. I heard enough to get an idea. You did? Who, pray, how didst thou hear us? Via a listening device most secret upon our chamber. Mares tapped a side of the wall. Part of it that was still standing anyway, and smelled ironically. Bad soundproof and I could hear pretty much everything Don Quixote, right? Everything Don Quixote practically sang through the day. Verily, I see. I think it could really do with some sense of embarrassment for once. Well, I guess that's good enough for self-introduction, so... Care to regale me with a tale of fixers who bring justice to the evils of the city? Indubitably! Then, this shall do. I shall regale thee with a tale with the legendary fixer, the arch-magnificence herself, the Red Mist hath... I suppose that killed any hope for a good night's skip. No, I want to hear about the red mist! But, don't you usually pass out within a minute of your back hitting the hay no matter how noisy things are? What? Do you take me for some kind of hibernating bear or something? Look, even I have trouble sleeping when there's noise all over.
야, 나 이거 계속 해야 돼? 좀 열받는데? 아니, 그러니까. 으르렁.
What a liar. I'd say bear in hibernation is a pretty apt descriptor. For all that grumbling and moaning, he dozed off before any of us did. Aside from Heathcliff, who began snoring the moment his head touched the ground, some other sinners were fast asleep as well. Mersault had ended sleep in his usual steadfast adherence to the routine, while Forst laid claim to one of the few available cloth sheets as soon as the close of business for the day was confirmed. The sinners, who had spent the entire last night searching for me in this unfamiliar land, slowly began to fall asleep as well. Meanwhile, the fixer of the Zwei Association's first section. Though the night was no longer young, Don Quixote was still vigorously sharing the tales of adventure without even a single sign of fatigue. I'm sorry, she's a vampire who loves to tell stories. She can't sleep. She's not determined to do this until sunrise, is she? Oh, I guess it's okay since Mares seems to be having fun. As I continued to watch the pair with some mild concern, Amia, not yet asleep, approached me. This city Miss Don Quixote speaks of seems to be teeming with fixes of justice and the exhilarating tales of adventures. Did you actually experience all of them yourselves? No, of course not. Don Quixote's stories are usually those of other famous people. But she's telling it with such vigor, it almost sounds like she was there herself. Well, I guess if you really want to get into it, some of them might be retellings of Don Quixote's personal experiences. Ishmael replied uncertainly, thinking back to the plays we were made to watch back in La Mancha Land. Well, I think all those stories, even though they're only partially true, just go to show what a ridiculous place it can be. We wouldn't need fixes of justice to begin with if we really lived in a just world, right? A good place to live would be quiet and peaceful, without having to force it. That's true. I hope there'll come a day when Rhodes Island can be a normal pharmaceutical company in the future. Huh? Something wrong? I just thought Miss Mares and I made eye contact. Did she overhear our conversation? I looked to her direction as well, but all I saw was Mares excitedly reacting to Don Quixote's tales. Well, what happened then? Thus spake Lady Outis, boldly before the soldiers who stood in our path. Thou presumest to stand in our path, servers of a master most unworthy? I, Outis, shall educate you on how manner maketh. Don Quixote was now retelling the stories of Limbus Company's adventures in Hongwan, and Outis, who could no longer stand Don Quixote's unintentional alterations of the story, jumped to her feet and shouted, Damn it, what kind of nonsense are you feeding her? I never said anything like that. Verily, certain aspects of this retelling may have been exaggerated. There's tales of adventures for you. Things are bound to get a bit dry when a story is told too realistically and as is, right? You know, nothing, not even anything resembling a proper record or a book remained once the profound silence swept through this village. So I've always had a craving for these kinds of stories. But Iberia doesn't stop Iberians from immigrating, contrary to their tight immigration control. Have you ever thought about leaving this place? It's still a challenge to cross the border, especially since we're going to have to pass through the larger cities that are managed by the Inquisition. You don't seem particularly fond of this Inquisition. Why is that? That's because this village was formed by people who grew tired of living under the Inquisition's rule and fled. Sorry, but what kind of organization is this Inquisition? He's got bad and core memories. Sinclair asked, face turning cold upon hearing the word Inquisition, and that people fled from it. Yeah, the Nagel and nightmare we saw back at Cole aren't the kind of memories that are so easily forgotten. According to Dr. Coutsett, the Inquisition is what filled the power vacuum once Iberia fell into chaos. That its inquisitors are the rapier and lamp-wielding protectors of Iberia's cities from lawlessness. That alone kind of makes them sound like good people, though. Yeah, they are, but there's the Church of the Deep. The Inquisition will go to whatever lengths to deal with incidents related to the church that worships Seaborns. Fie! An organization that worships those monsters! It seems that cultish fanaticism is a plague wherever we go. I feel like people with all kinds of wrong faiths and beliefs are so common. See, the Seaborns are the ones that messed Iberia up. So following their logic, apparently it's okay for them to arrest anyone who seems even remotely connected to them. Are you saying that Iberia is like this because of the Seaborns? Those things from earlier, I guess they were kind of troublesome to deal with, but they didn't seem that strong. Anyways, it's just from what I heard from Gramps, but the Inquisition executed many innocent people too in their crusade against the Church of the Deep. I don't think Gregor has any right to say that, given that he used his ego to clock the whole party because he could not win clashes against that bloody Seaborn. For those who proclaim to be on the side of justice, they seem quite fond of committing such villainy. It seems like a reasonable policy decision to me, but it must pose a clear danger to the daily lives of his civilians. Yeah, I heard I was the only survivor. Everyone in my family died. He must have had to endure such a long period of pain to be able to say something like that with such composure. For Iberia, they are heroes who will bring the land back to its glorious days. But to my Gramps, they were just oppressors making his life difficult. That's why we've all come here, fleeing from the Inquisition's gaze. Yet, wherefore hast thou decided to settle at a place that is so run down? Indeed. Yeah, I know. But it's not so bad once you get used to it. Besides, we managed to find a new path thanks to you guys. A new path? The boat. Well, it's getting late. Will you be repairing the ship tomorrow too? This place really has no soundproofing at all, huh? Good talk, everyone. I hope we'll get another chance to do this tomorrow too. After seeing Mares to her own room, the other sinners, who are still up anyway, and I laid ourselves on the hard stone floor with only a thin layer of cloth between it and our backs. A mysterious world that is neither city nor the outskirts. But it seemed that the lives its people led were just as difficult as they were anywhere else. Alright, so we're 10 minutes over time, so until next time guys, take care, I'll see you all around. Oh hey, combat! Finally.